It's October 30th. On Monday, luck was on the Bookies' side, and they scraped by. Just barely. They might be breathing a sigh of relief right now, but they know how close they came to being crushed. Monday's close calls only mean one thing. We're sharper, more ready, and they won't dodge the outcome for long. The Bookies can hold on to their luck for now, but it's only a matter of time. Welcome back to Tears of a Bookie. My name is Mo. This is a channel where we provide almost daily sports betting, predictions, all that kind of content for daily leagues, the NBA right now, with the main goal, of course, of devastating these sinister bookies out there. And with that being said, let's get right into it without wasting any more of y'all's valuable time. And we start with the bets recap. And transparency, of course, is very important here. You can see the entire record, the last betting day's record, and the entire season and everything. Unfortunately, there are a lot of channels out there that um, most channels, in fact, that they just do not provide their records at all, or if they do, they do it every now and then, and it's not right. They actually edit it, or they provide they're literally lying about everything. It's so bad, and I got fooled a while back actually. So I just want to make a point that just be careful out there, and don't be fooled. Don't be gullible. Some of these channels, even some of these people, a lot of them are cool, but some of them might even be working for the bookies undercover. So just be very careful. But with that being said, I don't want to waste any more time. The recap of Monday, we went 1-3, but it was so close. It was oh so close of being a sweep, or at the very least 3-1. Why? Well, two of the bets we lost were the spreads, the game spreads. Magic -5.5. They won by 4, just a bucket away. There was 10 or 20 seconds left. They had the ball, and the Pacers decided to not foul them. They decided, hey, you know what? Let's go back to the drawing board. Let's focus on the next game. This one is just let's just take the L. And I don't know, were they in on it? I don't know what happened, but if they were to foul a Magic player and take it seriously, the Magic player would probably have had 2 free throw shots. If they would have made those, bam, the spread would have been covered. And then the one that hurt even more is the Bucks +10.5. It looked at times as if they were going to win, but they lost by 11. That's right, we lost this one on the hook by half of a point. It's crazy. A basketball game has hundreds of points. We lost this one by half of a point. Just frustrating. Kyle Kuzma over in points. We got that very bad first half, but then he sort of came to himself and played very well in the second half to help the Wizards win. Yusuf Nurkic over 2.5 assists, another frustrating one. Why? Because he only played 15 minutes. They decided to bench him, and basically Mason Plumlee, the backup center, acted as the main center in that game, and he had 2 assists, which is double the assists he usually has and averages. So again, a lot of these reads were right. We just missed them. If I were to do like an alt line parlay, or the Yusuf Nurkic one was just unfortunate. The read again was there, but Mason Plumlee was acting in his place. So again, 1-3, it happens. Um, we are now a little bit in the negative side, but still nothing serious at all. And we're just looking to get back in the positives and keep climbing up and up and up and up and profiting and making them bookies pay. But with that being said, let's get right to the picks today. I think 10 or 11 games, something like that. And I got 3 picks in this video. There's going to be new things here, new bets that I haven't done before. You'll see that on the first pick, and the third bet is also it's kind of interesting because it's the logic is kind of different. I think you'll find it interesting. You can spoil to the third pick for that spoiler, but it's kind of cool. But anyway, let's start with pick number 1. This one takes us to Cleveland, Ohio. The Cleveland Cavaliers are hosting the Lakers, LeBron's old team, and close to his hometown. And I've got a same game parlay here, and I'm going to be fading someone who's been playing like a beast recently, Anthony Davis. That's right. Same game parlay, 3 legs, Anthony Davis under 33.5 points, Cavs over 104.5 points, and Lakers over 99.5 points, -155 or 1.64 on bet 365. Now, before talking about any of this, I originally wanted to do a total. All of these picks, of course, and the same game parlay are alt lines. But I wanted to do a total. I wanted to do a total for the entire game outline. So I wanted to originally do over 214.5 total points, but they removed that and they changed it to 216.5, and it was a bit too high for me. Which is why please make sure you subscribe to the channel so as soon as these videos are out, you can watch it. You can, if you want to tell any of these bets, if you want to, you know, if you like some of these bets and you want to place money on it and everything, you will not, this way you will not miss out because it happens. They either change the odds or sometimes with these alt lines, they remove it completely. It hasn't happened yet, but it definitely could happen like it happened to me right before starting the recording for this video. So make sure to subscribe and so you do not miss out, and um, make sure that they do not remove some of these odds or some of these lines entirely. But why do I like this? Let's start with Anthony Davis. Yes, I'm fading the number 1 player in the league right now in terms of points per game, but that kind of means to me that he is due for some negative regression here, and this is the best matchup for that, for him to kind of go under what he's been accomplishing so far. If you remember last season, Anthony Davis was the streakiest player of all time. He had one really terrific, magnificent game, like, oh my gosh, this guy is amongst the top 3 players in the league. And the next game, he was your average Joe and just awful, terrible stuff. This season, though, in the first 4 games, I think the Lakers have played 3 or 4 games, he has been very, very good, all of them over 30 points. But like I said, he's facing a pretty good team here, the Cavs. And last season, the Cavs gave the 3rd fewest points to centers. They're just very good at defending the big man. Part of it, I think, has to do with Jared Allen. In the 2 games the Lakers faced the Cavs last season, Davis had 32 and 22 points. His original points line, I think, is 26.5 or 27.5. But the reason why I'm playing an outline is because I respect the dude. You know, he's a superstar and he's been very hot, so he can definitely, I think, get over the original line. But it's this alt line that I think that, he has to play a very, very good game to get over. And especially, regarding the matchup. Now, the centers that have faced the Cavs so far this season, Jakob Poeltl had 6 points. Jalen Duran of the Pistons, 5 points. Alex Sarr actually had a pretty good game, the rookie of the Wizards, but he's kind of listed as power forward. But I guess in the starting lineup, since Valanciunas comes off the bench, he sort of is playing as that center position. He had 12 points. He played very well, and most recently, Karl-Anthony Towns had 13 points. So all of these centers, much less than what they get, what they're accustomed to, and what they get usually, the number of points they average. In the last 5 regular season games last year that Jaren Allen was starting and he played 25 plus minutes, we can see the same trend. Miles Turner had 17 points. Trey Jemison, if I'm pronouncing his name right, probably not, had 4 points. Zubac had 14. Davis, they actually played against the Lakers. That was one of the games, 22. And Yusuf Nurkic, 2 points, only 2. So you can see that a lot of these players, none of them were really able to pop off, and a lot of them much less than what they're accustomed to. So that's the first leg here, but let's talk about the other legs. So like I said, I wanted to do a total game line instead of for each of the teams, but that was not available anymore, unfortunately. Now, Lakers 99.5. I want them to go over that, and Cavs over 104.5. Both of these teams have gone over these point lines, their respective point lines, in all of the games so far this season. The Cavs lowest was 110 against the Knicks. The LA's lowest was 105. Now here's the interesting part. The Cavs lowest against that was 110 against the Knicks. Knicks last season gave up the 2nd fewest points in the entire league. And the Cavs got 110 against them last season. They were giving out 108. So the Cavs were already able to get more than that. And LA also scored 110 against the Timberwolves. Timberwolves gave up the fewest points, numero uno, last season to opposing teams at 106.5. And the Lakers had 110 on opening night. So even against these elite defensive teams that limit the number of points of the teams they're facing, they were able to, go above these point lines that I have in this parlay. And not only that, but the Cavs have scored 135 plus points in half of their games, 2 or 4 of their games this season so far, which is an insane stat because the mighty defending champion Boston Celtics, who are leading the league right now in terms of points per game. They have not been able to go over 135 yet in any of the games, and also the Warriors, who are second somehow, don't ask me how, in points per game. They have only been able to go over 135 points just one time. So Cavs can really get hot and score a bunch, and now they're at home too. Also, just today's NBA, I feel like there's not really that much defense. It's just offense. So you really feel comfortable going with overs when it comes to totals. Um, Usually, when the totals are not exceeded, it's sometimes it has to do with elite defense, but a lot of times it's just because the teams are just very cold and all the players are just cold and they just can't make shots. So that's why totals are always just feel a lot better in today's NBA. And also, this season, the Cavs are third and the Lakers are sixth highest scoring team. So there's that too. So all of these stats together makes me really love this play. Um, and I'll leave it with one other stat here before moving on to my next pick. This game in Cleveland last season, um, this very same game in Cleveland, the score it finished 121 to 115. So both teams obviously were able to go above the lines, the point lines. And here's the interesting factor here. The lineups were pretty much the same. They were almost the exact same, the starting lineups. Now, the Lakers didn't have Hachimura, and Reeves came off the bench, but he played 32 minutes in that game. And the Cavs had Max Strus, which they don't have anymore. But other than that, the entire lineup was the same. All of the stars were playing: AD, LeBron, Donovan Mitchell. So, it happened last year. I just want them to get over this point line and for Davis to kind of slow down here against the Cavs in this hard matchup and not go insane and score over 33 points. So that's my first pick, the same game parlay on Bet365, minus 155, a bit juice, but I like it. Half unit play. Of course, we're still doing half units. But pick number two is a player prop, and it's Mr. Thumbnail, Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. They are facing the Pacers in Indiana, and I want him to go over his points line at 24.5, minus 125, 1.87 on DraftKings. Now, here's a little fun fact for you if you don't know this. Jaylen Brown absolutely destroys and annihilates the Pacers 99% of the time recently. Last season, in the regular season, they played 5 times against each other, the Pacers and the Celtics, because they also played in the in-season tournament. And in these 5 games, Brown scored 16, 30, 31, 40, and 25. So that's 4 of 5. Let's go back to 2022, the regular season back then. Jaylen Brown went 19 in 3 games, 19, 30, and 27. So again, 2 of 3. Heck, what about the playoffs? I know we shouldn't look at the playoffs, but last season, the Eastern Conference Finals, these two teams were facing each other. You'd think that the Pacers would be like, this guy is absolutely killing us. He's destroying us. He's smoking us. We need to play, we need to lock him up and make sure he doesn't score. Let's make the other players score. They're definitely taking the matchups and everything a lot more seriously. It's well thought out during the postseason, right? Well, in the 4 games, because the Boston Celtics swept the Pacers, in those games, here are the points that Jaylen Brown had. He had 26, 40, 24, and 29. So again, all of them except for one 25 plus, and the one that wasn't 25 plus at 24. He just has his way against this Pacers team. I think if you were into the NBA and were following these trends, you would not be surprised by this pick at all. I'm a bit surprised that it's at minus 125. I think it should be a bit more juiced, but it is what it is, and we're going to make him pay for this line. It's definitely an over line here that I think makes complete sense to tail and to just go for it. Now, one last thing though, 2 things. The small forwards facing the Pacers so far this season: Hardaway Jr., 14 points, Mikal Bridges, 21 points, Kelly Oubre, 14, and Franz Wagner, 7 points in 11 minutes. I think he left because of an illness. So, they all scored about what they were averaging, if not more. And Jaylen Brown this season is also averaging 26 points per game. He's at 23, 27, 24, and 30. So right around even his worst productive game, he was just a bucket away from 25 points. So great matchup here, and I like this. You can even lather this play if you want. Maybe go for like 30 plus points. But he has had a few games where he's just barely past the 25-point mark against the Pacers. So I really like this. Come on, Jaylen Brown. I know you're super confident when you face this team. Just destroy him one more time. And the third pick is, now this is an interesting one. It's another player prop, and this is for the Pistons game. Detroit Pistons, who are facing the Phillies and the 76ers in Philadelphia. This is a player prop for Tobias Harris. I'm taking his over PRs, minus 105 on BetMGM. And it's for a quarter unit, and you'll know why soon, because this is not my only pick. I'm actually have one more pick here regarding Tobias Harris. But let me talk a little bit about this. This is an interesting one. This isn't really a position matchup. There isn't really anything special regarding the position wise here, like the power forwards, because Tobias Harris is kind of the power forward position. There's nothing special regarding the power forwards who are facing the Phillies, although Scotty Barnes did score 27 against them. Just keep that in mind. But nothing too special. This here is a situation of a player facing his old team for the first time since he was traded. I guess not traded in this case, signed with another team. And it's kind of a revenge type situation. Hear me out. We've seen this before. Players who face their old teams, especially if it's one of the first few times they're facing their team, and they were treated poorly at the end, meaning that they were either traded to another team or their contract expired and their team like didn't sign them. Usually they're angry and they play with a lot of passion and energy and give it a lot when they face their team again, their old team, because they want to kind of prove a point. They're going to be like, you guys didn't sign me, but watch what I can do. Watch what you're missing out on. And I think this is a great opportunity for Tobias Harris. I mean, come on, he's playing for the Pistons. Who would be happy leaving a team like the 76ers, who are contenders, to play for the worst team last year in the entire NBA? Like, it's just not something that any player wants to be a part of, right? They want to be part of winning teams. So I think this is a great opportunity for Harris to facing the 76ers, who he played for 6 seasons for, kind of be like, y'all didn't sign me back. And also, you fans out there, you think I'm not that special and I didn't, I wasn't a great player. I couldn't do things for you. Let me show you. Let me show you tonight what I can do. But let me just show you this video before moving on to the other pick regarding him. This is kind of a funny one. This is about a year or maybe year and a half before, regarding the trade rumors, where they kind of interviewed Tobias Harris, and this is what he had to say.
Trade speculation, casual Sixers fans, they'll trade me for a crumble cookie. But at the end of the day, they have to realize, like, you're not getting a 6'9" forward back who can, damn near shoot 40% from three, guard other team's best player, shoot post-up drive, play 70-plus games a year.
So it's kind of an interesting situation, huh? Like, he was obviously pissed back then. He knew that the fans didn't really think of him as much of a, they didn't care if they were to lose him in a trade. He knew that the fans would not care at all. And he was kind of pissed about that. He was like, I'm, a consistent player, 70 plus games, just giving it my all, 40% from the three. And they're going to be missing out on a very, very key player. Well, my friend Tobias Harris, this is your chance to show them that, even though that was a while back and it's not like they traded you, but this is a good chance for you to kind of show them what they're missing out on, right? So here's my second pick. So I already have him for the PRs, and the PRs is because usually when I think of a player just playing really good and giving it their all, they're going to play hard, go for the boards, and try to score as much as they can, right? So PRs makes a lot of sense to me. I wouldn't mind just going for the points line, but PRs kind of has a bit more of a wiggle room, especially because Harris has now he's now on a 2-game streak of actually double-digit rebounds, 10 and 11 rebounds his last 2 games. Points wise, he has not been that great so far, 9, 8, 10, 13. But I really think this is the game where he has the best performance by far this season. But here's my second pick here that I'm also taking for a quarter unit, and it's for his threes. So over 1.5 threes plus 170, 2.7 on bet 365. Quarter unit again. So this just to understand why I'm going for this. First of all, like he said, you just gotta look at that video again, right? He said in that video, 40% from three. I'm an elite shooter from the three, and he's in his career, he's been really good. The reason why this line right now is this high, it's plus money, plus 170, is because he's on an 0 for 8 streak shooting the threes. But I think but even in the 4 games this season, he has had a game where he was very efficient from the 3-point line, went 2 for 3. And I think this is a game where you can also, again, score at least 2 threes, make at least 2 threes. Particularly because what he said in that video, he said, I'm such an elite player. I'm damn near 30, 40% from the three. Well, do you know what his percentage is right now from the three so far this season? He's under 18%. So, this is a great spot here. It's okay. It's just the beginning. It's only been 4 games, 3 or 4 games. This is the spot, Tobias, to get a lot of threes, show them your efficiency, show them that 40%, that damn near 40%, and just make your old team pay for leaving you behind and not considering really signing you up. With that being said, though, those are my 3 picks. If you like this content and found any of this useful, interesting, liking, subscribing would be greatly appreciated. And let's go for the first sweep, the first official sweep, not mini sweep, first sweep of the channel. Come on. We can do this. We can make them bookies pay for these lines. I'll see you soon. Bye and take care, y'all.